It's August 23rd, 2025, and we are still tracking some active systems in the tropics as things continue to be busy in the tropical Atlantic. Meanwhile, we have a coastal system developing off the coast of the Carolinas that could bring some heavy rain for parts of the East Coast. So here's Invest 90, which is just to the south of Bermuda. It is going to get its act together as it moves north, most likely becoming a tropical storm. At least that's what the forecast models indicate, but also taking it away from Bermuda and then out to sea. There may be some effects on the island, but in terms of the East Coast being affected by the storm, we're not expecting any impacts to the coastal United States. So as we take a look at the model forecast here, this is the wind forecast, and you can see how close the storm gets to Bermuda, but the strongest winds should stay to the east of the island. You also notice along the East Coast, we have another system that develops right along the coastline, and that's where we could potentially see some coastal impacts in terms of heavy rain and strong gusty winds, so we have to keep a close eye on that system as well. So if Invest 90 does develop, it will become Tropical Storm Fernand, as that is the next on the list here. Gabrielle is after that, and we still have a long way to go. Definitely leave a comment in the comment section below on which storm you think will be the worst this season. Still have a long way to go on this list, and it'll be interesting to see what you guys think will be the worst storm on the list. So back to the development of that coastal storm. Right now we have a cluster of showers and storms developing along a low pressure system that is in the southeast. This has been producing some very slow moving showers and storms, and it is going to move out over open water, so it eventually will intensify a bit once it does that, but it's still a threat to the southeast, and the main threat will be some flash flooding today. The Weather Prediction Center has highlighted an area of a level 2 out of 4 risk for flash flooding that mainly encompasses Georgia, goes into Florida as well, and parts of South Carolina. So we will be watching this area closely for potential flooding this afternoon, but that storm system will be heading out to sea tomorrow, and conditions will improve for much of the southeast. In terms of the rainfall amounts, it's not expected to be a widespread soaking, but there could be some isolated locations that pick up on some very heavy rain. So in this situation, if you do have a flash flood warning over your area later today, make sure to seek higher ground if you're in a low-lying area, and don't drive through any flooded roadways. Tomorrow, the storm system will be moving out over the water and starting to intensify a bit, but it will be a slow process. Notice how heavy rain develops across North Carolina as the storm heads into the forecast Sunday morning and then pushes out to sea, making its way closer to New England by Sunday night and early Monday morning. In terms of the impacts for the coastline, not expected to be a huge impact, but certainly heavy rain and maybe some stronger wind gusts. So here's a look at the Weather Prediction Center's forecast for tomorrow. This is a level 1 out of 4 risk for North Carolina, although it wouldn't surprise me if this was raised to a level 2 tomorrow. So if you're in this area, definitely be mindful that you will be expecting some heavier rain showers and potentially tropical downpours tomorrow. And here's the rainfall forecast for North Carolina. Notice some of the outer banks could see upwards of 3, 4, maybe even 5 inches of rain. So this would be a lot more than what Erin just brought to the coastline. So definitely keep a close eye on this. Of course, the impacts in the ocean aren't expected to be nearly as bad as what Erin just brought in terms of the surge and the wave action, but the heavy rain from this will probably be a bit more, and we could see some stronger wind gusts with this, but nowhere near what Erin just brought. Going a bit farther to the north, we have a stalled front in the forecast going into Monday. This is going to produce some heavy rain from parts of Maryland all the way up to New York State. But in terms of the coastal system, not quite close enough for heavier impacts for the Outer Cape and the islands of New England. But we'll keep a close eye on this. Any shift westward would bring some of that heavier rain over parts of New England. And here's that rainfall forecast. You can see the pockets of heavy rain, especially through New York State. Going into Monday's forecast, could see some localized flooding in some areas, although I do think it's going to stay a 1 out of 4 risk for New York, but see all that heavy rain across parts of the Atlantic. If that does come back westward with the coastal system, we could be talking about 3 inches of rain for parts of Cape Cod and the islands, locations that do need the rain, but certainly not all at once, so we'll keep a close eye on the system. Now, before we talk about weather across other parts of the country, I wanted to introduce our new weather app, Storm Chance. Storm Chance is a more focused weather app on weather impacts, major storm systems, severe weather, and of course, tropical systems. We will cover everything in this app, but more importantly, for your area. You'll get local updates, hyperlocal forecasts, and of course, weather data, all impacting you. I hope you enjoy this app. It will be coming out in a couple of months. Feel free to leave me questions on here or on our website if you have anything that comes to mind on this app over the next few months. Let's talk about the Southwest now, as there is a risk for some flash flooding. It is monsoon season now, and we are tracking a low pressure system across the Southwest. But you can see the Weather Prediction Center has highlighted multiple areas, a level 2 out of 4 risk for flash flooding today, and a level 1 out of 4 risk for a huge portion of the Southwest. Slow-moving low pressure system means slow-moving thunderstorms, and if they do pile up rain, it'll come down on very dry ground and could create the potential for some flash flooding. And this is a multiple day risk across the area, as this low pressure system will be moving slowly. So here's the risk for tomorrow. It does shift a little bit, but not by much, as we will continue to have potential for flash flooding through Sunday. So here's the rainfall risk across the area today. Notice how there's smaller pockets of heavier rain that show up in various locations. It really just depends on whether a thunderstorm parks itself over an area and produces heavier rain, and especially if it produces it along a mountainside or in a canyon where that water can pile up quickly. So we definitely want to keep a close eye on that. Of course, folks out in the Southwest used to dealing with this, so definitely keep a close eye on the forecast today and try to be mindful of any thunderstorm activity across the area. More impacts possible for eastern Colorado that will also include potential stronger storms. And here's that risk for severe weather across eastern Colorado, including some strong gustier winds and, of course, hail being a risk, especially this time of the year. And those heavier downpours could produce some flash flooding across the area. So definitely keep a close eye on the sky today. Be weather aware as storms start to develop. This will be a multiple day risk across parts of Colorado. But the good thing is there is no tornado risk, at least not one expected over the next few days. And you can see the scattered showers and storms heading through today and then tonight and tomorrow. A lot of heavy rain in these showers and storms, but they will be very isolated where there will be potential for some flooding. So as we push through tonight and into tomorrow, you can see those pockets of heavy rain, even more so, I think, tomorrow. So definitely be mindful of the potential of flash flooding here as we head over the next few days. Aside from the monsoon out west and the coastal system, we will actually be settling things down this week, but the main reason for that is we have a cool down on the way, and you can see the eastern part of the United States well below average in terms of temperature. That's that darker blue color there across parts of Tennessee, going into North Carolina, and even as far west as places like Arkansas, Oklahoma, and Missouri. So we'll continue to have some cooler air in the forecast and feeling like fall. And you can see that with the forecast model here over the next several days, that cool air coming in out of southern Canada and settling down almost like a midwinter forecast, but being in the summer, we're talking temperatures just feeling like fall. So no need to be alarmed by this. This is actually a pleasant pattern for this time of the year. So as we head over the next few days, there will be a few things we're watching here. We're tracking 2 systems, including a coastal storm and potentially tropical storm Fernand. In addition to that, we're also watching the monsoon season out west. The cool down that'll be coming to parts of the United States, definitely much needed for those of you that have been in a hot summer this year. And we're also monitoring the tropics as things could get active once again. Thanks for joining us. I'm meteorologist AJ Waterman with Storm Chance.